want to give you a warm welcome today to the Bible study program. You know, we're working with the struggles and the puzzles of the first Christmas story, and we were looking at the book of Ruth and learning about some of the real life things that happened there. If you ever think we're in an upside down or topsy-turvy world, well, that's exactly the kind of world that, shall we say, the first Christmas greeted as well. An upside-down world, a topsy-turvy world. We saw that in the book of Ruth. It was, shall we say, everything was upside down. And but God's mercy and kindness and grace could be seen, shall we say, flowing like a mighty river. And that was all part of His plan, where He had the great-grandfather of David, whose name was then Boaz, and then his grandfather's name was Obed. And born the way he was. You know, some authors say the Moabites used to have jet black hair. And so David could have had some jet black hair, and it's traceable back then to the grandmother Ruth and so forth. Well, what we really have today is we're going to look at the three, shall we say, big announcements that were made by the angel Gabriel before and during, shall we say, that first Christmas. Three big announcements. And the first one came to a man named Zechariah. He was doing service in the temple, which was in Jerusalem. The temple was a very grand structure. It had been built by so-called Herod the Great in order to win friends with his subjects, the Jews. So he built this massive temple. And we have Zechariah offering up incense in the temple in Jerusalem, and all of a sudden, there is the angel Gabriel. And the angel Gabriel says to him, "Your prayers for a son have been heard. You're going to have a son, and you are to name him John," which is a total break with the traditions of the community, the family, and the people. Because usually you name the son after the father or a close relative. Nothing of the kind. His name will be John. And so what happens basically is we get the pronouncement of the angel Gabriel to Zechariah, who's serving as the high priest, that his wife, they're going to have a son who is to be named John, and that this son is to be Nazarite. And there's such a thing as a Nazarite vow, which is given to us in the book of Numbers. And we can read that for a moment, just in passing. Why, Numbers chapter 6, the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, if a man or a woman wants to make a special vow, a vow of separation to the Lord as a Nazarite, then in that case he must abstain from wine and other fermented drink, and must not drink vinegar made from wine or from any other fermented drink. He also must not drink grape juice or eat grapes or raisins." That's all in keeping with the Nazarite vow. You couldn't eat grapes, couldn't eat raisins. Some theologians say, well, the original tree that brought the fall of man into sin was actually a vine. So now no fruit of the vine, whether fermented or simply in its original form, could be had by anyone who is under a Nazarite vow. Then it says, as long as he is a Nazarite, he must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, not even the seeds or the skins. And it says, during the entire period of his vow of separation, no razor may be used on his head. He must be holy until the period of his separation to the Lord is over. He must let the hair of his head grow long. Throughout the period of his separation to the Lord, he must not go near a dead body. Even if his own father or mother or brother or sister dies, he must not make himself ceremonially unclean on account of them, because the symbol of his separation to God is on his head. Throughout the period of his separation, he is consecrated to the Lord. Well, that's the Nazarite vow. Now, Samson was supposed to be under the Nazarite vow. You'll remember how the hair of his head was never touched by a razor. Well, John the Baptist was to be under a Nazirite vow, for the angel Gabriel says that in Luke chapter 1, verse 14. He says, "He will be a joy and delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord," as compared to Herod, who called himself great in the sight of men. He will be great. Those are words of Gabriel, the angel, regarding John the Baptist. He will be great in the sight of the Lord. He is never to take wine or other fermented drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from birth. Well, you can see that John the Baptist is now predicted his birth and his name, and Gabriel gives that to the Father who's in the temple. And then the Father asks a question which gets him into problems. And what we really have, Zechariah asked the angel, "How can I be sure of this? I am an old man and my wife is well along in years." Very tactfully, Angel Gabriel says to him, "I'm Gabriel, and I stand before the presence of the Lord. And because you have not believed and accepted my words, you will have no voice. You will not be able to speak until the baby's born." And that's what happened. Amazing, puzzling types of things. Here's the man who was the highest of the top line of priests. Angel Gabriel announces to him that his prayers are answered, and he says, "How can this be?" And he loses his voice completely until the baby was born. The angel answered, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not able to speak until the day this happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true at their proper time." So the angel identifies Zechariah's problem. It's unbelief. And so he cannot speak. So the people are waiting for him, and he comes out of the temple. And normally he'll raise his hands and he will speak the blessing of Numbers chapter 6. "The Lord bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you.